If in public you duelled over issues of policy, and in private you behaved all right with each other, that's fine. But if in public you cast aspersions on a person's character, integrity, morals, and so on, and then you're convivial with him later in the day, I find that a bit odd, I must admit.
An eloquent leader, a suave diplomat, an award-winning author of over 18 books. Here's a look at Shashi Tharoor's fascinating journey from UN diplomat to three-time MP through a series of rare interviews. Shashi Tharoor was born on 9th March 1956 in London to Malayali parents. They shifted to India when he was 2 and moved quite a bit, first Bombay and later Kolkata. He earned his BA in History from St. Stephen's College and an MA in International Relations at the Fletcher School of Law and Diplomacy in the US. He was awarded his PhD at the young age of 22. He joined the UN as a staff member for the UN High Commissioner for Refugees. At the age of 25, he published his first book, Reasons of State, while heading the UNHCR office in Singapore. That same year, he got married to his college sweetheart, Tilotma Mukherjee, and they had twin sons. In 1989, he worked with the UN's Peacekeeping Operations Department in New York and spent a lot of time in Yugoslavia during the Civil War. In 1996, he was made executive assistant to the then UN Secretary General Kofi Annan. In 2002, he was made Under Secretary General for Communication, organizing UN's first ever seminars on anti-Semitism and anti-Islamophobia.
The fact is that in my 28 years and every one of the jobs I've done, I've built up a paper trail. I've built up a record of demonstrated innovation, creativity, imagination, and indeed a willingness to lead change. The department I took on 5 years ago was one that many thought unreformable. I think I'm fairly able to say that I have reformed it.
In 2006, he contested for the post of UN Secretary General. Had he won, he would have been the youngest Secretary General in history. He came a close second to South Korea's Ban Ki-moon, and the loss seemed to hit him hard. He resigned in 2007, ending his 29-year-long stint at the UN. He separated from his wife and married Krista Giles, a Canadian diplomat. He ventured into the corporate world, working with a Dubai-based investment firm that funded development projects in India. In 2008, he moved to India and joined the Congress Party.
Certainly someone like myself who spends so much time thinking and writing about the issues that are the outcome of politics, if I now have an opportunity to actually put my feet in the arena, to put my feet where my words were or my mouth was, as it were, I think I should take on the challenge.
The Congress offered the political novice the prestigious seat of Kerala's Thiruvananthapuram for the 2009 Lok Sabha elections, a move that upset several senior Kerala Congress leaders.
My inexperience in politics is one factor, but it's only one consideration. I also bring in a certain lack of preconceived notions. I don't have any baggage that some politicians can tend to be associated with. I come in as somebody who stands for change, who stands for a fresh, forward-looking, professional approach to the problems of the constituency, and that's what I hope to convince people that I can do for them.
Tharoor swiftly swapped his suits for the mundu and set to win over voters who until a few months ago had never heard of him.
The truth is that until I left the UN, came and established my residence here and got my voter's ID, I didn't have a possibility of voting. So it's a great privilege to vote, and of course it's an extra bonus to vote for myself.
He won by a margin of nearly 1 lakh votes, and the first-time MP was made Minister of State External Affairs in the Manmohan Singh cabinet.
In many ways, I think it all happened in such a blur that first year in politics. Getting the ticket, being plunged headlong into an election campaign the next day, winning by the majority that I did, and then ending up a minister as soon as I won. All of that just happened very quickly.
Tharoor quickly set to task, using his UN background to improve India's ties with foreign nations. But his independent streak and use of social media often got him into trouble.
I spend about 15-20 minutes a day on Twitter, and that much I can afford. People spend longer than that in the bathroom sometimes.
In 2009, he ridiculed India's stricter visa norms on Twitter, earning him the ire of his senior colleagues.
If there are different perceptions, then I think there is a method, there is a procedure where we sort out those issues. And I'm sure that Mr. Tharoor understands that.
Not once in 29 years of the UN, not once has there been the slightest controversy associated with anything I've said. If anything, I had such a reputation for choosing the right words that I was asked by Kofi Annan to become Under Secretary General for Communications and Public Information. So it's particularly astonishing for me that with that sort of background I come to this country and with an attitude of openness that I thought would be welcomed by my counterparts and friends in the media here. And I found that it was the exact opposite reaction. There was the entire, who the hell does this guy think he is? If he's going to be accessible, we'll really pick on every word he says, we'll twist it, we'll distort it, we'll attack it. It's been a huge education for me. And I must say, the once burned minister has become twice shy.
While Tharoor was learning to adjust to his political life, there were big changes on the personal front as well. In 2010, he divorced Krista Giles and married businesswoman Sunanda Pushkar.
A lot of people come to me and say, Shashi Tharoor is a great husband. I said, okay guys, you need to really see that perhaps I'm a great wife to get a great husband. You see, it's a reaction thing. You can't be a great husband if your wife's going to be constantly not a great person.
That union wasn't without controversy. After Pushkar was given 19% equity in the IPL team Kochi Tuskers, there were allegations that Tharoor misused his office to benefit Pushkar. The then IPL chairman Lalit Modi also alleged that Tharoor pressured him not to probe the deal, leading to a political storm.
The entire nature of this transaction must be criminally investigated by the CBI.
Tharoor resigned from the cabinet in 2010 following the allegations.
When I resigned, I called for an inquiry, and one was conducted. I went through the expected grilling by the officials of the Enforcement Directorate and so on. And of course, I've come out of it fine because there has never been a single paise involved in any of this. Corruption is supposed to be the misuse of public office for private gain. And there was neither misuse of public office nor was there a penny gained.
Despite the clean sheet, rivals continued to cast aspersions on him.
कांग्रेस के एक मंत्री थे, पार्लियामेंट में पहले वो मिनिस्टर हुआ करते थे, उन पर आरोप लगे पैसों की धांधली के, क्रिकेट के ढीकने फलाने। उन्होंने संसद में उठ करके खड़े होकर के कहा था कि जिस महिला ने मेरे खाते में 50 करोड़ जमा हुए हैं, वो 50 करोड़ रुपए से मेरा कोई लेना देना नहीं है। भाइयों बहनों, बता दीजिए, इस देश में कभी किसी ने 50 करोड़ की गर्लफ्रेंड देखी है?
My wife is worth far more than your imaginary 50 crores. She's priceless to me. But you need to love somebody to be able to understand that. And we'll have to see whether he's capable of understanding it.
Out of office, Tharoor kept himself busy.
I was on 5 parliamentary committees, one of which I was the convener of. In other words, I chaired the meetings of the Parliamentary Forum on Disaster Management. I was invited by the party to speak in pretty much every one of the major debates in my time as a backbencher, everything from the Lokpal Bill to the 60th anniversary of Parliament to the debate on foreign affairs when one responded to the opposition. All of these things, 7 or 8 major debates, the black money debate amongst other things, I got to speak in. So I was actually quite occupied, engaged and busy.
In 2012, he was made MOS HRD and he gained an enviable following on social media. Until 2013, he was the most followed Indian politician on Twitter. He was overtaken by Narendra Modi, who still holds that title.
When a man like the then president of the BJP, Venkaiah Naidu, was saying too much tweeting can lead to quitting and that kind of thing, in those circumstances, naturally politicians backed off. So I think the Indian political space was put off because they saw this as a medium that guaranteed them controversy rather than any benefit. But in time they realized that the rest of the world was doing this, why not in India? And they saw that what I was doing was not wrong. Once the BJP realized that this was an area to get into, they went into it with gusto. And certainly Narendra Modi and Sushma Swaraj were 2 of the more prominent leaders in the political space who were out there accumulating large numbers of followers at a time when the Congress party was still skittish about participating in social media.
He became one of the Congress's most prominent spokespersons ahead of the 2014 Lok Sabha elections, attacking BJP's prime ministerial candidate, Narendra Modi.
Within moments of his burqa of secularism speech, you and Ajay Markan jumped in after him, and the net result was that you ended up attracting more attention to what he'd said, giving him greater publicity, and keeping him permanently in the public eye. That didn't serve your purpose.
Oh, come on. Giving him greater publicity and keeping him in the public eye is your job, Karan. You folks in the media have been doing rather well with it. So we feel that rather than just having uncritical, minute-to-minute reportage of everything the man says, let's challenge him on his own turf. If he starts talking about the burqa of secularism, we will challenge him and say that indeed it's better than the khaki shorts he's hiding, or indeed that it's better than the nakedness of communalism.
A personal crisis threatened to derail Tharoor's political career. His Twitter account was allegedly hacked, and intimate messages exchanged between him and a Pakistani journalist were made public, leading to some serious allegations from his wife Sunanda.
She is an ISI agent planted here in India. She interviewed my husband in April. After that, she's stalking him. She's hacked into my Twitter. Okay. She's hacked into my husband's computer. She's hacked into, I wrote an email to my husband today, and she has replied to me. We are having no problems. We are very much in love. We are not having any problems. We have a hacker.
A day later, this happened.
The big story that's breaking this evening: Union Minister Shashi Tharoor's wife Sunanda Pushkar has been found dead in a Delhi hotel. The Delhi police now confirming the recovery of Sunanda's body at the Leela Hotel.
Although an autopsy indicated that her death was due to a drug overdose, several directed the blame at Tharoor. He had to fight hard to hold on to the Thiruvananthapuram seat in the 2014 elections, winning by a margin of just 16,000 votes.
It's a victory for the values of secularism and pluralism that the people of Kerala have always held close to their heart. And it is also a rejection of the negative campaign and the negative politics and the personal attacks that we have seen practiced in the last few weeks.
The high of that victory was short-lived. A few months later, he was removed as party spokesperson, praising Narendra Modi for his Swachh Bharat initiative.
Yourself, sir, are often described, and I'm sorry to use the word, as a villain, by your own party colleagues in Kerala. Now, if that kind of a scenario keeps playing up, and when you you took your own decision of accepting the Swachh Bharat initiative, which was unleashed by the Prime Minister, you were removed from the party spokesperson's job. Now, I'm saying that here is a party which is down to 44 seats. You do well in a state, and you are removed for doing something which you thought was right.
Anything that a spokesman does is ascribed to the party. Now, whether I like it or not, I have an independent existence as well. And the Prime Minister didn't ask me as a Congress spokesman. He said Congress Sansad when he invited me in his speech. But the fact is, he invited me almost certainly because of my social media following and so on, and not because I'm a Congress spokesman.
That didn't stop Tharoor from doing what he thought was right. He started trending on social media again when his speech at the Oxford Union on colonialism went viral.
It's a bit rich to oppress, enslave, kill, torture, maim people for 200 years and then celebrate the fact that they're democratic at the end of it.
It earned him fans across the political spectrum, but it was this 2017 Twitter outburst that catapulted him into social media superstardom. Since then, Tharoor has regularly been a fixture in pop culture and is often even credited for this cameo. But the shadow of the Sunanda death case continues to hang over him.
4 years after Sunanda Pushkar's mysterious death, a Delhi court has now summoned her husband Shashi Tharoor and Congress Member of Parliament to appear before it on the 7th of July. The Patiala House Court took cognizance of the charge sheet filed by the Delhi police, saying there was sufficient ground to proceed against Tharoor on charges of abetment to suicide and cruelty towards his wife.
Tharoor got bail, but he faced a bigger challenge, the 2019 Lok Sabha elections. With the Sabrimala case turning out to be a major poll issue, Tharoor, a self-proclaimed liberal, was at his diplomatic best.
We're very, very much in favor of women's equality, but we are also in favor of respecting the sanctity of religious practices in our country.
He also went on to reinforce his Hindu identity through public religious rituals, some even at the cost of his own safety. The BJP went all out in its attempt to wrest the seat from the Congress.
Thiruvananthapuram, high-profile battle there between Shashi Tharoor, again two-time sitting MP, taking on Kumanam Rajashekaran, former governor of Mizoram. He was brought back exclusively for this.
Tharoor scored a hat-trick victory, winning by a margin of nearly 1 lakh votes. Since then, he has gone on to diversify his image with an eye on the millennial pulse. He frequently responds to queries on social media, has cameos in international shows, and even had a stint as a stand-up comic.
So I think Mr. Tharoor, when he says he's an outsider, is not quite the statement of the fact. If you see, you are not getting a single critical voice of Mr. Tharoor against him, and everybody seems to be responding favorably to him. So he is very much an insider with the responsible Indian young citizenry at the moment.
That Shashi Tharoor is a renowned academic and an eloquent speaker is undisputed. His charisma and social media reach might have won him fans across generations, but if Tharoor is ever to be considered Prime Minister material, this global citizen might have to ditch the dictionary and embrace life as leader of the Aam Aadmi.